My family has always been really cool because they have said to me, we're 100% behind this dream, but if you have another dream tomorrow, we'll be 100% behind that too. All of this has changed their lives drastically. I mean, my mom goes on the road with me now. We don't see my brother and my dad as much because they stay back home in Tennessee. Um, you know, it's crazy. They have people come and ring the doorbell every day, and it's interesting because my brother is 17 and he's in high school. And so every time I'm on TV and stuff like that, he hears about it at school. And so part of me thinks about him every single time I make a decision or every time I say something. I think about how it's going to affect my brother at school. So it's a really good gauge for my actions. The weirdest thing I do when I'm bored, it seems like all I do is weird stuff when I'm bored. When I'm bored, oh my gosh, my new favorite thing is going to YouTube and watching videos of these girls who teach you how to do makeup on YouTube. They do videos of it. And I'll put in the search bar Taylor Swift Teardrops on My Guitar makeup tutorial. And there are all these girls that are like teaching you how to do the makeup for my videos. And I just like watch it and I get like mesmerized. I'm like it's so relaxing watching other people do their makeup. I don't even know why. But my cat is awesome. Whenever I'm home, I make sure that I spend time with my cat. Walking around the kitchen, finding things to eat, grazing. Also, I like to make videos. Like I love to edit videos together with music behind them. I think if I wasn't doing this, I would be a music video editor. The makeup that I use is all different. It all depends on what I have with me and how much time I want to spend on it. Usually I don't want to spend that much time on it. But my basic things that I do is Mac Studio Tech and NW20, I think is the color that my skin is right now. Um, and I use black gel liner. It comes in like a container like this and you get a brush and it's like foolproof. You can't really mess it up. That's why I like it. And I like to put like silver light colors on the inside of my eye and then like smoke it out towards the outer edge of my eye. And MAC brushes are really, really good for that. There's this one brush that is perfect for creases. I'm not a lip gloss girl. I feel like my hair gets stuck in lip gloss 99% of the time that I have it on. So I kind of stopped wearing lip gloss. I'm more of like a really, really nude lip liner kind of girl. My favorite song on Fearless is, right now, it's White Horse. It's a song that I wrote about, in my mind, the most heartbreaking moment of a breakup. And that's when you realize that the person you thought was going to be in your future and you thought was your Prince Charming and you thought that he was going to be the one, it's that moment when all that comes crashing down and you realize he's just a part of your past. And I think that with a breakup, that's the hardest part. And everything else after that is recuperation and getting over it. But the song White Horse, I can really relate to right now. The inspiration for the song Love Story was when I was interested in a guy that wasn't a popular choice. And I got the idea for the song when I thought of the situation and I thought, this is difficult, but it's real. You know, it matters. It's not simple, it's not easy, but it's real. And so I wrote the song around that. I wrote the song in around one line in the second chorus and developed the entire song around it. And everything up until the ending is what, the actual story. And then the Marry Me Juliet, I Love You ending is, I think, every girl's fantasy ending. And, the ending I hope I have someday. My favorite places to shop are Forever 21. I find the coolest things that you would never expect at Target and Walmart. I love shopping there. And I love BCBG. Love their dresses. They're so cute. And the things you can find at BB sometimes are really awesome. And department stores are cool because you can find all kinds of different brands and they're all together and it's whatever's cute. I think my celebrity crush right now is Chase Crawford. I really love Gossip Girl and he's my favorite actor right now. Any hidden talents other than music? I'm really into grammar. Um, Like I need everything to be grammatically correct before I send it. Like in when I'm texting somebody or when I'm emailing somebody, it's like I have to make sure that I've got the right form of every word and that everything's spelled right. Like I don't know, it's just something I've been pretty hung up on since I was little. So I guess grammar. I was inspired to start singing when I was really little. I've loved music all my life. There are videos that my parents have showed me of when I was like 4 and would run up to people on the beach, like random strangers, and just start singing for them. And they would never know where I was. They would always be like running after me trying to figure out who I was harassing at the moment. But I've always loved to sing for people. I've always loved music. My role models in country music are Shania Twain, Faith Hill, Dixie Chicks. I think what they did for country music as female artists, they brought quirkiness, they brought comedy, they brought independence, and I really, really love that. My advice to somebody who wants to become a singer and get into the music industry is that no one goes about making it in the same way. Everybody does it differently. So don't be discouraged if you're not making it the right way or whatever. You know, I think that we have this idea in our head that we're going to be discovered and that we're just going to be singing at, you know, Eric's bar and we're going to be discovered by some A&R scout in the audience, some talent scout. And that's really not how it happens most of the time. Most of the time it takes moving to Nashville and meeting this person who knows this person who introduces you to that person who you play this song for and they like it and they tell this person about it. And it's this web. You know, usually if you ask a lot of people who have made it in music, there wasn't one definitive moment that did it for them. It was working your way up step by step. And I think that's a way that works better, is just don't be discouraged. Have patience. Be relentless. And never assume that you're entitled to success, because then if you get success, it'll be a pleasant surprise. As far as the internet goes, I've always been really a big fan of it because I grew up with the internet. MySpace came about when I was 13 and I immediately got one, and the same thing happened when Facebook came about and Twitter, and I've just always really loved being a part of the newest internet thing. My website is something I'm really proud of because it offers so much, so many different galleries of pictures and videos that are available, and message boards and forums, and it's become a really cool thing to know that if I want to get a message out to my fans, I can update them within seconds and have them know what it is that I need them to know. I think that it's really important that you find whatever way it is that you feel most comfortable expressing yourself, find that and do that. I think that for me, the way that I feel most comfortable expressing myself is through journaling and through my music. And I think that writing in some form is just really important. And I think that if it's important to you to look back on your life later on and be able to read what you were thinking today, then you should do that. But whether it's like pictures or, you know, a photo album or journals, I think that you should preserve the way your life is now so you can remember it later. And that's goal number 1. And then goal number 2 is just being able to, at the end of the day, think about all that you felt that day, think about all the things that you did that day, and really be able to process it and write it down. So I would encourage people to journal and to write in a diary, because what you did today is important. With my schedule being so crazy, a lot of times it's hard at the end of the night to motivate yourself to get up and go get your journal and write all of this stuff down. But I still do it because it's important. You have to find importance in what you did that day, even if it was just a bunch of mundane stuff. It's a part of your story, and they're all details that matter. And a lot of times I'll find out things about how I feel about that day when I'm writing it all in my journal that I really kind of wouldn't have come to the conclusions if I hadn't written it down. So I think it's important. Movies are something that I've been really lucky to be a part of in the past year. having a little role in Valentine's Day. That movie was so much fun to be a part of because I got to play this amazing character that was just, I got to be kind of funny and do this impromptu dance in the middle of a football field, and it was really, really fun to be a part of that. For me, when it comes to approaching a movie that might have me in a bigger role, I would definitely want to make sure it was a project that I was in love with, because when it comes to approaching anything outside of music, it's definitely going to take a little more convincing for me to do it. So if I go for a movie, I would definitely apply myself 100%, and I think that if that were the case, it would be a year to a year and a half from now when I had a minute to really apply myself. With my music, one of my favorite things about the whole process is that I've never thought about demographics or statistics or formats of radio that the music will be played on. When I'm writing the music, I'm thinking about the person I'm writing that song about and how they're going to feel when they hear it on the radio, or how they feel when they're going to pop it into their CD player and finally know what I think about them. That's the number one thought that's running through my mind when I'm writing songs. But I've been so flattered and so pleasantly surprised by the wide range of ages that listen to my music and the wide range of ages of people who show up to the concerts. That's been wonderful to see that, because here I am just writing about where I am right now in my life, and the fact that that applies to other people who may be in different seasons of their lives, living completely different lives, that's really, really cool to think about. When I write songs and I finish that part of it, and I'm living with that song and playing it in the car, I start to see these visuals of how that song should look when I perform it live in my concert tour, and how that song could look in a music video, and how that page of the CD booklet should look, and what font they should use for the title. I start to see all of these things, and they come together in my head very quickly, and it's like I feel really lucky to be able to be a huge part of, creating this album that gets to be mine. It gets to be the way that I see these songs and the way that I feel this album should look, down to every single last detail. Taking ownership of this album makes me care about everything.
Signing on for the Body by Milk and Got Milk campaign is something that I really, really, really was floored that I was offered to do, because I've always seen the ads in the magazines and thought, if that could be me, I would be so lucky. Also, anything that promotes good health is something that I believe in. Milk is really important just as far as, making your bones strong and stuff like that, but also a lot of people don't realize that the protein in milk encourages lean muscles that look good, I don't know, like girls in my high school would starve themselves for a diet and only, drink one coffee a day or something like that, and that's just not the way to do it. The best way to diet is to be on a good diet and be on a healthy diet. Drinking 3 glasses a day gives you protein, which encourages lean muscles, which look good, and calcium, which makes strong bones, and, I don't want to break bones. If I break bones, I can't go on stage, and I can't do what I love, and what happens then? Not good. So milk is definitely something that is a priority for me. The funny thing about what I do is I'm never ever home. I'm always on a constant vacation. I'm always on a plane. I'm always on a bus. I'm always in a different state. I'm always constantly gone. And so, the thought of coming home and then going on vacation, it just seems like that would be so tiresome. Like, I think I'm just going to stay home and just look around and, look at my house for a couple days. It'll be awesome. But I think if I were to go on a vacation, I would want to go to Nantucket or Cape Cod or Martha's Vineyard or someplace like that. I've never been. It was unbelievable to be. I was actually at the Grammy press conference when they announced my name as a nominee, and I freaked out in front of everybody, freaked out, because I didn't expect that. out of everybody. Everybody out of every genre. Guys, groups, females, whatever. I couldn't believe I was in that list. So that was probably one of the highlights so far. Just amazing. My advice to fans to, you know, look their best and stuff, I think that for me, as far as my personal style, in high school, I felt like whatever was different about you made you wanted to change it. I had curly hair and was taller than everybody else, so I wore flat shoes and tried to straighten my hair so that I could blend in and be like everybody else. I think once you graduate to the real world and you're out of high school, you start to realize that the things that are different about you are the things that make you special. And as cliche as that sounds, you start to realize that, you know, if there's something, if you're lucky enough to have something that's different, don't try to hide it. You know, I don't straighten my hair now, and I wear the highest heels I can find. You know, it's like I don't try to blend in anymore. It's more about standing out. I've got a new album coming out in the fall, and I'm so excited about it. It's not even funny. I was listening to the rough mixes in the car the other day, and I was like, this is 20 times better than the first album. And I'm so excited about that because you're always kind of scared of your second album and whether it's going to be good. And, you know, they say you spend your whole life writing your first album and, you know, a year and a half writing the second one. The difference between the first album and the second is that I've written a lot more of these by myself. Like, I've written, I think, 8 songs by myself on the second album, like, without co-writers. You know, because you're in Arkansas, there's not really anybody to co-write with if you get a great idea. But I'm really excited about it, and just, I'm not trying to change who I am. I look at examples of my favorite artists like Garth Brooks and like Tim McGraw and stuff like that. When they put out a new album, you know that it's going to be different material, but there are going to be little reminders every single place you look. Every single track is going to have little reminders of why you loved them in the first place. That's my goal for this next record.
On your very first headline tour, how's things going?
It's been awesome on my first headlining tour. I've never been happier. You know, opening up for people for 3 years, it's like you learn so many things that you'd love to do if you were ever to go out by yourself. And getting to incorporate all of those things into a show, it just makes me so happy. It makes me so happy to be out there knowing that every single person in the audience, you know, bought a ticket with my name on it. It's pretty exciting.
Now, you know, 2 years ago, where were you? What was going on in your life 2 years ago, if you can think back? Did you expect this all to happen? 2
years ago, I was 17, and I was on tour with Brad Paisley and opening up shows and playing for 25 minutes a night. And I don't know if I ever imagined that 2 years later I'd be playing a 2-hour show every night in front of giant sold-out crowds. It's like, you know, I was always the person who never expected all this would happen to me. So this has been a very surprising year.
Now, what have you learned in the short amount of time? I mean, has anything changed in your way of viewing either the business or viewing yourself from when you started to, let's say, today?
Well, everything in my life has changed. Hopefully except the way that I view myself, because I feel like, you know, the perception of me has changed dramatically, even from people that I went to high school with or like my closest friends. They all kind of look at me differently now, but I just look at myself as the same person, you know? You're kind of like, wow, I've been this person all my life, and then all of a sudden it's exciting. And it's really cool to walk into public places like a mall or something like that and have it just go nuts. You know, like I used to dream about that when I was a little kid, but as far as like how I view myself, I never want that to change, because you can't believe in all the hype that people say about you. You're still just a person. So that's kind of always how I've looked at myself.
I read somewhere that your mom keeps you grounded, but your dad is really having a good time out here on the tour with you.
My mom is very logical and very practical, and she's always like, now don't get too far ahead of yourself, you know, and one step at a time. And my dad is just going nuts out here, like handing out guitar picks. Hey, I'm Taylor's dad. Hey, good to meet you. Hey, here's a guitar pick. I'm Scott Swift, you know, and it's just hilarious. He's out there selling T-shirts at the merch stand. It's like, oh, Dad's out again.
And I'd heard you in another interview say that you were really not that popular when you were growing up in Pennsylvania, I believe, that it was difficult to make friends, and you were kind of feeling a little bit out, as an outcast. But I bet you those old people in school now probably calling up saying, hey, Taylor, remember me?
Oh, they don't have my number anymore. But it's, you know, it's like, the people that make your life hard when you're younger, if they didn't make your life hard, then you wouldn't have wanted to leave where you were to go where you are now. I never would have wanted to leave Pennsylvania and move to Nashville had I been invited to all the parties. So in a way you look back and you're like, thanks guys, I appreciate it.
That's right, a valuable lesson, a valuable lesson. Now you are a role model and you are a great inspiration for a lot of younger girls and even older girls who look up to you for keeping such a great, based, clean life. You don't smoke, you don't drink, you tend to avoid, a lot of the negativity that's going on in Hollywood. How do you stay away from all of that? What kind of advice would you give somebody?
For me, it's just never really been hard. I don't know, I've never had to battle with like the temptation of wanting to do any of that. So I feel like it's almost kind of weird that it's such a unique thing that I'm not a train wreck. It's like, in all my interviews, it's like, so is it true that you are not drunk right now? I'm like, it's not that hard, guys. Like, I'm 19. I'm not supposed to be doing that.
Right.
And if I wasn't in this position, I wouldn't be doing it anyway. So it's just sort of like, I'm getting a lot of credit for something that's really easy for me to do. So it's really wonderful to be called a role model, and I take it very seriously, and I definitely factor it into all my decisions, but it's not that hard to say no to something for me. I've always wanted to tell a great story. Ever since I was little, that's always been what I've wanted to do with my life. And the way that I've done that so far is with music. But if I read a script that was a great story that I wanted to tell through acting, then I would definitely pursue it. I'm not shooting a movie right now or anything. I'm really, really busy with the tour. But, if I read a script that just really I fell in love with, I would love to pursue it.
Now, talking about the album Fearless, which is doing so well, nominated for zillions of awards, already won several awards. In fact, it was the Album of the Year at the Academy of Country Music Awards. And so you've just had, a tremendous couple of years here with 2 albums out. The album Fearless, did you expect that it would do as well as it's done? Is it?
I don't think so. I don't think I ever could have expected that it would just absolutely be #1 on the top 200 for like 11 weeks. I never thought that would happen. Having written every song on the album and gotten to co-produce it, it's just really exciting to see something that you put everything that you have into do so well. It took 2 years to make it. Mm-hmm. And I feel like it was really worth it to put that much time into it.
And a lot of the songs, or if not most of the songs, are written about relationships, your personal relationships with people, both boys and just your family people in general. So is it kind of does it come back to haunt you that you're writing about broken hearts and past relationships, that guys say, well, I'll date you, but don't write a song about me?
Well, as far as writing a song about relationships, that's all I've ever done. Mm-hmm. The only thing that inspires me to where I can write so many songs about it and never get tired of writing songs about it is love. And, the beginnings of love, when it's all the butterflies and magic and stuff, and then the end of it where you feel like you can't get out of bed in the morning. That's what I love writing songs about. And it's not like guys don't know what they're getting into. I've been very open and honest about it my entire career since I was 16 years old. It's like, I write songs about real people. If we date, you're going to end up being a character. You can choose whether you're going to be a good character or a bad character. Choose wisely.
And I also read where you had some dating advice, or at least for guys that were interested in you, and this was to other girls, about, X number of, if they text, you don't tend to respond to a certain number of texts, and don't call him back if he calls more than once, or something like that. I don't know.
Oh, no. It's just a self-preservation thing. Like, if you text a guy and he doesn't text you back, don't text him again. Like, I don't know. Like, a lot of girls do that, and they're like, maybe he didn't get my text. It's like, no, he got it. He just didn't text you back. So don't be desperate and ever text twice in a row. Like, I never like to call or text twice in a row.
Who are your role models?
My role models are people like Garth Brooks and Faith Hill. I just love the fact that they're so nice to people and they're so good to their fans. you know, you grow up and you have your favorite singers, and then when you meet all of them, that list kind of shifts to the people who are great people first and great musicians second. I've always aspired to be a great person first.
Now, how did you end up in country music? Because you have, you know, you're so talented, and your music crosses over into many different formats. So how do you think you found that niche in country? Has it always been country for you?
I've always felt like country tells the most detailed story, and it just spoke to me since I was little. When I was growing up, it was Dixie Chicks and Faith Hill and Shania Twain, and that's what made me fall in love with country.
And you know, the fans in country music are loyal. It's a different kind of fan. Now, have you done a lot of international touring? Have you performed overseas a lot?
Yeah, I've been doing a lot of international stuff, going to Australia, going to the UK, going over to Europe, going to Canada. It's been really cool to get to go all over the world and sing my songs on stage and have people, you know, in a country I haven't ever been to before singing the words back to me. It's really cool. For me, you know, my life has gone a lot differently than it has for my friends. You know, my best friend, she's in college right now at Kansas, and she's studying journalism, and that's the life that she's chosen. For me, it doesn't make any sense at all. I mean, if I were to go to college, I would want to study music, and then, you know, after I would get out of college, I would hope to get a job in music, which I currently have. So to give up the job that you already have in music to go study to get a job in music, I've been lucky enough to skip a step. And of course, later on in life, I would love to take classes. I want to be as educated as possible. But leaving this tour, or leaving this life, or leaving the process of making this next album to go study how to do it, just doesn't really make sense to me. The next album, I already have like 9 or 10 songs recorded for, but I just want to keep going and make sure that it's something that I've really put a good 1.5 to 2 years into. Because I don't want to just hope that it's better than Fearless. I want to make absolutely sure that it's better than Fearless, because I never want to go back and just kind of be less of, I don't know, I just never want what I do next to not be as great as what I did before.
Welcome down under.
Thank you. It's awesome to be here.
The Australians I hear are being very good to you.
It's been amazing. It's just, you know, when you come to a place you've never been before, you sort of don't know what to expect. But we got here, and automatically I walk out in the airport, and there are all these people that are like, we came all the way from New Zealand to see your concert. We flew all the way here from all these places in Australia, and it's just been so amazing.
Brilliant. Well, we look forward to welcoming you down to New Zealand at some point. It's not too far away.
And it's gorgeous, so we'll find any excuse we can to get over there.
Glad to hear it. Look, firstly, Fearless is literally just released in New Zealand yesterday, so there's a whole legion of Kiwi fans that are sort of ready to embrace Swift mania as it sort of takes over the world. For people that don't know your music, Taylor, how would you describe it?
I would describe it basically all about love. Especially this album. You know, I'm very fascinated by the differences in fairy tales and reality, and basically the only song I know how to write is a personal one, and a song that is about someone. You know, when I see the track listing of my album, there's like a face that pops up next to every single song title, and my music is basically my diary put to music.
It's important to you that you write your own songs?
I've always written my own music, and you know, that's just always been the best part of this for me. When I write a song alone in my bedroom, I'm the only one feeling it, and I'm completely alone in feeling that way. But when I record it and I walk out on stage and I see another person singing those words back to me from the crowd, I'm not alone anymore.
Look, I look at your enormous success that you've had in a short space of time on this planet, and I also see a young girl that really knew what she wanted to be when she grew up. Is that true?
When I was really little, I used to think that I was going to go to college and be in business just like my parents, and I think that when you're younger, that's just sort of the default. You think that you're going to be what your parents are, but music was what I loved. It was just always what fascinated me, and writing was what I loved. You know, when I would go to school, I always looked forward to English class. I think I was the only kid who was like, yes, creative writing. You know, I loved telling stories, and when I was 12, I picked up a guitar, and when I learned 3 chords, my love for writing and my love for singing merged into one, and I wrote my first song.
And then it was off from there, pretty much, wasn't it?
I could not put it down from that point on. Writing songs became the first thing that I felt like I could never put down. You know, with all these sports that I tried when I was younger in school, you know, I'd try it for a couple seasons and quit because I was bad at it, and, you know, all these things. I never found anything that stuck like music. And when I started writing songs, I just wouldn't stop. Like, I would be playing guitar for 4 hours every single night when I got home from school, and my mom would literally be like, you have to come eat dinner now, you need to stop playing. And it would be to the point where my fingers were bleeding, and we had to tape up my fingers for me to go to school the next day.
It sounds like you had a very supportive family and still do.
I had a really supportive family. They're absolutely amazing. And, you know, when I was 10 years old, I saw this TV program about Faith Hill, and it talked about how she went to Nashville. And that's where she made it in the music industry. So I got it in my head that there was this magical place called Nashville, and I needed to go. So every single day, I would just nonstop, relentlessly bug them about going to Nashville. It was just every day. It's like, you guys, we need to go on a trip. I need to go. Please take me on a trip to Nashville. And so finally, on spring break that year, my mom and my little brother and I got on a plane, and we flew from Pennsylvania, where I grew up, to Nashville, and rented a car, and my mom would drive up to these record labels on Music Row, and I would get out of the car and run up to the record labels and hand my little demo CD to the receptionist and say, hi, I'm Taylor, I'm 11, I want a record deal, call me.
And it worked.
Not then, actually. You know, when I was 11, I kind of looked around and thought to myself, wow, there are a lot of people who want to do exactly what I want to do. And they all have the exact same dream. How on earth am I going to make myself different? And that's when I went back home, and I started playing guitar, and I started writing my own music.
Brilliant. So you're living proof, actually, if you nag your parents enough, you'll get what you want.
Exactly.
It's perfect.
Basically.
What sort of singing stars did you look up to and you cite as influences now in your music?
Shania Twain was a huge influence on me when I was younger. She definitely was one of the reasons why I wanted to sing country music, because she just did everything. She wrote her own music. She was this dynamic performer. She took her music worldwide. She expanded country music so much. And I just always looked up to her for that, and I still do.
So when we talk about your style of music, you're managing to sort of cross over on so many different levels in terms of not just age groups, but the kind of music that you're creating. So it's a part country and it's a little bit pop. Is there a word you'd use to describe your sound?
I don't know. I think a lot of people describe my music as crossover, but I like to use the word spillover. Because crossover seems like you're going from one place and leaving that place and going to another, which is not what I'm doing at all. I'm still a country artist, and I'm lucky enough to have songs that have gone #1 on pop radio. It's kind of the best of both worlds. It's freaking me out. I'm so excited.
So when you look at a group of your fans, what is the quintessential Taylor Swift fan? What does he or she look like?
It's a lot of girls, and I think that it's kind of interesting because they literally go from like 5-year-olds to like 50-year-olds.
Right.
It's like, it's the weirdest thing because you'd expect there to be one general age group for them, but it seems to be everybody. But there is definitely, like, when I see girls coming to my concerts, I can tell that they're coming to my show if they're like wearing a sundress and cowboy boots and they're 18 to 25 is usually when you can tell they're coming to my show.
Noted, noted. Now, we've got a Kiwi country music star, Keith Urban, actually. Have you ever sung with him or performed with him?
Keith Urban is absolutely amazing. I'm actually going on tour with him this year.
Oh, brilliant.
I'm doing a headline tour in the U.S., but for some of the shows, we decided to co-headline with Keith Urban, and it's just like, I have always wanted to play with him. He's been one of my heroes for so long, and he's just so amazing. So I definitely wanted to check that off the list of things that I've done.
Awesome. You can say, go Kiwi to Keith, and he'll love you for it.
Definitely.
Go Kiwi. It's brilliant. How would you describe your life right now?
My life right now, you know, I would describe it as
a lot of different things. In some ways, I feel like I'm the same person I was 3 years ago before all this started. I feel like I just have a different schedule now. And then in other ways, it's interesting because I'm still the same person, but everyone kind of views me differently. It's really interesting because I feel like I'm so lucky to be in a place where, you know, I do these meet and greets at my concerts, and girls literally come up to me bawling their eyes out, and it's just like, I can't believe that people actually care what I write in a song. I can't believe that people actually care what I think or what I'm saying in my music. It just is so overwhelming.
Does it bring a sense of responsibility in a way?
There's definitely a sense of responsibility, especially because I take responsibility for everything that goes on in my organization. It's not one of those things where I go on stage and sing and that's my job. I love producing my albums. I love business meetings. I love, you know, understanding just everything about a publishing deal and a record deal and planning the entire stage, planning the production, everything that goes on in the music industry, not just a singer. So in a way, I'm taking on a lot of stress by approaching it that way because, you know, it's a lot more pressure on you when you're taking on all these different jobs. But I really like it, you know, it's fun for me. I've always worked well under pressure, and it's just been a really good year.
Outside of writing and performing, what's your favorite thing to do?
When I'm not writing or performing, I don't really do that much. I mean, like, writing and performing takes up everything. So that's a big portion of my time. And, you know, when I'm not doing that, I'm usually, like, on MySpace and stuff. So I'm blogging, or video editing is one of my favorite things to do. So I make videos all the time on MySpace, and I like to put songs in the background. They're not allowed to be my songs, like they're other people's songs, and I put my home videos to them, and it's really fun.
It's Taylor Swift's Fantasy Concert. Who's on the lineup with you?
If I had to make an ultimate concert, best tour ever, it would be Katy Perry, Tim McGraw, Faith Hill, and U2.
Now that you're traveling and touring all over, what part of the country or landmark did you get to see that stands out?
I like to video everything that goes down on the road and put it up on my MySpace in video blogs and, like, edit it all together. And a lot of times it's fun to go back and watch those and relive some of the most fun moments, like going to London with my band and going to Philadelphia and running up the stairs that Rocky ran up, and all that stuff. It's just really fun to get to experience the places that we go. Sometimes all we see is the arena, but sometimes we actually get to venture outside the cage, and it's really fun.
Have you ever whipped the tour bus into a Dairy Queen or Starbucks while you were on the road just because you craved something?
I get different, like, food obsessions on the road. It's really weird. Like, my most recent one has been Cinnamon Toast Crunch. Like, I need Cinnamon Toast Crunch for some reason. Before that, it was Cracker Barrel. And then before that, it was Pop-Tarts. It's really weird. It's anything. It's completely random, and I'll pick something that's, like, my favorite thing for a good month, and then I switch to something else.
With lots of time to kill on the bus, what shows are on your TiVo that you just can't miss?
Any shows that I TiVo and I can't miss. Grey's Anatomy is my show. I love Grey's Anatomy. And I got to have a song on Grey's Anatomy, which, like, was almost so overwhelming I almost died. But it was the coolest, most amazing feeling to have my favorite show playing and have my song playing in the background, like with my favorite characters walking around amongst my favorite song, or my song. It was just so cool to watch that.
There are websites and magazine articles on how to get the Taylor look. Is that weird? And how do you describe your look?
I actually really think it's awesome when people talk about, like, the Taylor Swift look or something. Like, I think it's really cool that people want to have curly hair or want to wear dresses and boots. That's just what I'm comfortable in. I mean, I didn't think I was creating a look or anything. That's just, like, what I like to wear, and that's how my hair is. But what I've been doing lately, oh my gosh, I go on YouTube because I love to watch people get their makeup done. It's really, like, really relaxing. So, like, I'll go on YouTube and I'll type in makeup tutorials And there are some that are teaching people how to do their makeup like the looks from my videos, like in teardrops on my guitar and stuff, and I watch them, and it's like my favorite thing to do sometimes. Like when I'm really bored, I'll go on there and watch people like curl their hair like mine and like do the makeup looks, because it's really interesting to see their takes on it, you know?
What's the hardest thing about writing a song?
John Mayer said something in his blog one time that I thought was really cool, and he said he's still trying to figure out the fine line between a million records and artistic integrity. And I always remembered that, because it's not always the same. But I think that if you're just true to who you are and you write the songs that you write about what you like to write about and don't really care too much about if it's commercial, I think that that's what people really like anyway. You know, people see through it when you're trying to sell records. I think when you're trying too hard to do anything, people are naturally turned off by it. But, you know, I like to write songs about love and relationships, and I hope that people like it, whether they're critics or whether they're people out there going to Walmart. You're always going to hope that people like what you do.
Taylor, do you consider yourself a role model?
I think that when you put out one song and one person likes it, or when you are in one movie and one person goes to see it, you're automatically a role model, whether you like it or not. You can either choose to ignore it or you can choose to accept it. And I embrace it. I like it. I think it's really cool when somebody comes up and says, you know, you're a great role model for my daughter. That's not just a compliment about my music or whatever. It's a compliment about my character. And when somebody compliments your character, how can you not love that?
3 nominations for the Academy of Country Music Awards. You got the top new female vocalist, album. Where were you when you heard the news about
I know. I was, oh my gosh, it was like 6 a.m. It was very early. One of those really early shows.
There you go.
And completely in my parents' bed with them like curled up, like so nervous, like, you know, I hope I get nominated for one, and I got nominated for 3, which absolutely freaked me out. We were jumping up and down screaming, and, you know, the album of the year thing is really what freaked me out. Also, female vocalist of the year.
Yeah, to be in both categories is rather unusual, to be in the new female and in the female category.
It's really, really exciting.
What are you going to do if you win both?
I'm not going to win both.
Well, you win all 3. Well, I mean, when I say both, I mean you could certainly.
Well, I don't know. Like, I try to really be realistic about stuff like that, and, you know, award shows are really unpredictable. And, you know, it would be cool to win, like, top new female vocalist or something like that. It's like I'm not going to cry if I don't. I would most certainly cry if I did, out of happiness. But, like, album of the year would mean so much to me, just because, you know, I wrote every song on this album, and, you know, my producer was a demo producer before he made my album. It was his first album he ever made. And, you know, all the people who played on the record and, you know, all of my co-writers, it's like that would be for them, and they would be able to really, really take ownership, and that would be a really wonderful thing.
There's a connection, and I don't recall when there's been one where the 3 of the nominees have been quite as close and know as much about each other as you and Kelly and Sarah do.
Me and Kelly are best friends. I love her so much.
She's older by 3 years, but says that you're the big sister.
She says that all the time.
Yeah.
And, like, Kelly, you know, sometimes she'll make a grammatical error, but she's wise. You know, there's a difference in being, you know, the whole, like, grammar thing and then wisdom, because she's given me some of the best advice that I've ever gotten, you know, and she's been one of the best friends I've ever had, and she's like the sister that I never had. So, like, I don't know, just when I see her succeed, it makes me so happy. It's like I want to be here 20 years from now. I want Kelly to be there, right there with me, so that I can have a best friend through it all. Kelly has been through so much for 21 years of age. She has, you know, she has had to grow up by herself. And that is something that I did not have to experience. She's over my shoulder saying, don't do this, don't do that, don't make this mistake, I made that mistake, don't do that. Like, she's so hilarious, so just absolutely honest about everything, will not leave any detail out of a story. And, you know, she's the one, honestly, like, she's like a sister to me. Like, I've always had really strong morals. I'm not about to drink. I'm not about to go party or whatever. But, like, the fact that I have a really, really strong influence right there over my shoulder going, if you drink, girl, I'll kill you. I'll kill you.
And
That's what Kelly says to me. And it's like, I love her for that. She's amazing.
And somehow you know she would.
Yeah. No, she wouldn't kill me. She'd get on the phone, Tater, what are you doing? I heard you were at a club last night. What are you doing? That's what she would do.
Sarah Buxton, you guys toured in the early days of your career together.
Yeah, Sarah and I literally, our singles came out like a week apart, our first singles. Tim McGraw came out and she had a song called Innocence that was her first single. And so we were like, there are always a few artists that you're in that group of people that came out exactly at the same time, and you see them at every radio concert, you see them at every single stop, and every single time you're talking on the radio, they're like, oh, so-and-so was just here. And Sarah was in that group with me. So it was really cool to get to know her through that, and just, you know, we had written way back when I was like 15, so we already knew each other, and just seeing her success as a songwriter is just really cool.
What would you be doing were you not doing this? Where would Taylor Swift be in her life if it hadn't happened?
Oh,
or if you
my
were still
gosh.
waiting for it? Would you be in college? Would you be...
I would be in college,
Would
yeah,
you?
definitely.
Pursuing what?
I don't know. Part of me thinks that I would be in criminal justice on, like, you know, more of a forensic side of things, not this, you know, the carry a gun side of things, because that would be really, I'm scared of everything. Like, I totally am afraid of everything. I'm obsessed with CSI, the show, but it's because I'm so scared of, like, the whole criminal investigative thing, but I'm fascinated by it at the same time. So that's kind of a strange little...
So the science of it's what...
Yeah, I really like the science of it.
Okay.
Interior design, I really love. Anything that has to do with art, I would totally be into.
CSI, Martha Stewart.
Yeah, definitely. It's weird.
Where do these thoughts, these random thoughts that become songs, where do you put them? Where do you keep a notepad? Do you... I know you're quite the technology chick as it relates to texting. And is that the way you do it?
It depends on when a song hits me. You know, the idea for my song Tim McGraw hit me in math class. Teardrops on my guitar. On my way home from school, I was just like, oh my God. You know, I got this idea in my head. And, you know, sometimes if I'm around my guitar, I'll write it really fast. Like my song, our song, I wrote in 20 minutes. Literally just got this idea of a song that was sort of like a story but was more conversational in the verse, and I just started like ad-libbing it. And then I had to go back and remember everything that I said, and it took like 4 run-throughs to write that song.
It's not enough that you're a business mogul in the entertainment industry.
Business mogul.
Now you're headed into retail with dolls and...
Yes!
What's
I have
that?
a doll coming out.
A Taylor Swift doll?
Yes!
Did you fashion it? Who fashioned the doll? Are you happy with it?
This doll company, Jack's Pacific, the doll company, came to me and said, we would like to make a doll of you, and, you know, list some of your favorite outfits. And so we've got like the outfit from my Teardrops on My Guitar video with the green dress, and an Our Song video doll, and I'm just so excited. I'm like, wow, a doll. And I'm going to get like 4 of them. I'm going to get like 1 million of them and like walk around with it like this and be like, don't talk to Taylor. Talk to Taylor, because she's the only one that's listening right now. Thank you. No, I'm just kidding. I'm not going to do that, because that would be horrible.
Talk to the doll.
Just talk to
The head's not listening.
Just talk to the doll, because I'm not really listening or anything. So, no, but like, I just think it's so just funny and cool, and you know, I'm gonna be like, when I go in Walmart now, and I'm naturally gravitated toward the CD section just to make sure that this is my life and I get to do this, and I really have a CD in the store. Now I get to go over to the toy aisle, which is strategically right next to the music, and go down there and right in between Hannah Montana dolls and Barbie.
That's
Little mini
just-
me.
That's yes, more than
Pretty
I can comprehend as I sit here and look at you.
It's very exciting.
All right, what's the one thing that's always in your refrigerator?
The one thing that's always in my refrigerator is grape juice. I really like grape juice.
It's good for you,
I'm a
too.
big fan.
It's an antioxidant, you know.
Yes.
You keep drinking it. One thing you can't live without.
One thing I can't live without is black eyeliner. Because I have like really light eyebrows and really light eyelashes. So sometimes when I don't have makeup on, it's like I have no eyes. And so black eyeliner is a huge help.
No eyes?
I have eyes.
I know
but
what
they're
you mean.
just like, they're
Yeah.
blended into my
It's the
face.
curse of being blonde and fair
Oh,
complected.
I'm not
isn't it?
complaining or anything. I just really like black eyeliner.
What's your guilty pleasure?
My guilty pleasure is whipped cream.
Yeah, I have seen the video stuff
yeah.
where you just on
So
the bus
rude.
and you.
So unladylike. It's horrible. Like, but you
But
know,
it makes me laugh.
you're
And
like,
I know it does your fans when you see that. It just makes me laugh out loud when I
That's
see you do
good.
that. Yeah, I know. But
hopefully people aren't watching and going, sick.
all right, you're a superhero. You can have any superhero power. What is it? And do you use it for good or evil?
Be able to, it would be a mental thing. To be able to look at a person, know their name, their entire background, what they're thinking right now, and be able to speak their language.
Whoa, boy. Make for a short CSI episode now, wouldn't it?
Yeah.
Just, I mean, be no
I think
reason
that
to
would
go
be cool.
through.
You could pretty much accomplish anything in the world. Probably.
In 10 years, you will be 28.
Yes.
And in 20 years, you'll be 38. What do you think you'll be doing? What do you
In
see?
20 or 10?
Yeah, 10 or 20. Just
In
give me a little-
10, I will be hopefully headlining. I'm really hoping that
That
I would.
probably is going to happen, I mean, just so you know, in about 10 minutes. Not 10 years. If you walk out of the studio.
Well,
then-
I'm being, I'm trying to be
I
realistic
understand.
about it, so I don't
I
let
do.
myself
I see.
down, so I don't be in like 10 years be like, oh, I'm a failure, like just. I would love to be headlining, and I would love to, just be doing great touring, and still be putting out successful albums, and having the album's material grow with me, and never ever alienate my fans ever. I don't ever want to put out an album that was like my personal album, like that no one can relate to, but I personally can relate to, because I just really, really always want to consider the 14-year-old girl that's driving home and just got broken up with at school, and she's like so upset, so she needs to put in the CD, and I want a song on the album for her, and I want a song on the album for this other girl that I met over here, and I want a song on the album for this guy who told me this life story. It's always going to be all about the fans, and I hope that never changes.
Do you know the Bob Dylan song, May You Stay Forever Young?
Yeah, that was a good song.
Yeah, that's what I wish for you.
Thank you.
It is so
That's
great
a really
to spend
nice thing to
time with you.
say.
Yeah. Put that ladder to the sky and climb on every rung, and may you stay forever young. That just came to me as I sang.
That is so sweet. Thank you.
Do you feel the presence of a superstar?
I do.
Do you feel the presence of there's a massive force that has entered the studio?
You're so nice.
No, I was talking about me.
Oh, there you go. That's good.
Yeah, no, I'm kidding. Taylor Swift is here. And for those of you who know, or you know what I'm talking about, for those who have never seen her or heard her, she is going to, I really believe this. I mean, there are a few people that I've met that have what you have, and I don't even know how to describe it in words because I'm not an English major, but there's something about you that is, I think it's going to last for a long time. And a part of it has to do with, yes, you're a singing star and you've had a lot of success and nominated for awards, and you share your raw emotion, you write songs about boys and all that stuff, but it's also because you're nice.
Thank you.
Do you think you're nice? Because we think you're nice.
Thank you for saying that.
Yeah.
That really is nice of you to say. Thank you.
She's very sweet because, I don't know, did we have her on the air? Why did she write you? She wrote you and me a thank you note.
Yeah, no, we just
Handwritten.
Yeah, we talked about
Aw.
So cute.
Taylor.
Well, we did a phoner, and you guys were really nice to me, and we talked about your shark bite and things.
Oh, that's
like
right.
that.
I remember. But I was like, I get this note from Taylor. I was like, the return address is like Taylor Swift.
Uh-huh.
Like, shut up. Last night was an interesting night for you in Beverly Hills, wasn't it?
Oh my gosh, it was a really great day yesterday. I did the Ellen show, and I mean, there were crazy things that happened on that show, and I guess we can talk about that later. But last night, specifically, Ellen was so sweet because she flew out my best friend and surprised me.
She's the best.
Oh, who's your best friend?
Her name's Abigail, and she goes to college in Kansas. I hadn't seen her in like months.
Oh, how cool.
And so she flew her out. My best friend walks out on the show and surprises me. And
No, so wait. So, all right. So, then, by the way, there's no greater person than Ellen DeGeneres. She is like,
she's the
she's
greatest
an angel
person
too.
on the planet.
And she's been doing this for a while and has like huge success and is still really nice too.
She's incredible.
Yeah.
And listen, so she listened to what she did. She made reservations for us to Mr. Chow.
Oh my God, that's so good. Right there in Beverly
I've
Hills.
never been there before.
Oh,
Right.
did you love it?
It was really great.
Yeah.
And so we walk in and we sit down, and
It's so cool.
it was really cool. And so we sit down, and my best friend just like looks like she saw a ghost.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm like, what's wrong with you? She goes, do you not know who's sitting behind you? And I was like, no. And she goes, Stevie Wonder is sitting behind you.
Ellen did that.
Ellen, no, she didn't do that, but he was just there, and you know, he was there with like his family and this big group of people, and I didn't want to be like staring at them or whatever, but it was really cool. And halfway through the meal, they dim all the music in the restaurant. It was completely silent, and one of the waiters said, "Hey, somebody wants to make a toast." And Stevie Wonder stood up.
Oh my gosh.
I was freaking out. I will never forget this for as long as I live. I was just like, remember his words, remember his words. He stood up and he said, This is for all the people who fought for this country and died so that we could vote today. This is for the people who lived their lives with love. This is for the people who lived their lives with hatred because they were only trying to be loved. This is for all the believers. This is for all the non-believers. This is for all the people who died in the past without ever getting the chance to vote that we got today. And this is for the future generations and my future family who will get to vote. And he toasted to his mother who died 2 years ago, and then he said, and God bless you all. He ended it, he said, and this is for everyone here tonight whose goal is to make this country and this world far better than it has ever been. I will never forget it.
You have an amazing
I
memory.
was gonna say, I don't know what's more impressive, his speech or the fact you memorized it.
I was like, I couldn't forget it. I was like, there's no way in my entire life I will ever forget this, because that's where I was the night of the election.
I mean, look at the tears. Ellen's got tears. Natalie's got tears. Natalie doesn't even have tear ducts. I mean,
She's
everyone's
crying.
It was the most beautiful thing.
No,
It's beautiful the way you
that
say
memory,
it.
That memory is
Yeah.
it's amazing and so powerful. Exactly, so powerful the way that you recited that. You know what it tells
you.
me? You know what it tells us, Ellen? I mean, you think about what Taylor saw last night in the heart of Beverly Hills at Mr. Chow's, and you listen to her recite verbatim, word for word, what Stevie Wonder said in that dimly lit gourmet Chinese restaurant, and you think to yourself, we got to stop drinking. Love Story and her album Fearless in stores this Tuesday. So a hectic few days ahead of you, huh?
Yeah, it's gonna be crazy.
Let us look. Can we examine the lyrics of that song for a
Let's
second?
do.
We were both young. You're singing. You do like to sing about dudes.
I love writing about boys.
Yeah.
Really detailed, personal boy songs.
And do you ever have that moment where you realize or you think twice about the fact that it's so detailed, name-checking, and personal?
Kind of, but it's also sort of a personal thing for me, that it's like a personal goal for my songs to be so obvious that they know that it's written about them.
And do you think that guys, if this continues to be a theme and a trend, do you think that guys might be worried about dating you?
Yeah, I think so.
Because they don't want to be track 12.
They don't want to be track 12. You know what? If I find the right guy, then he won't hurt me, and so I won't have to write a song about it.
Have you been really? I mean, have you really been hurt though? You think you've really been hurt in the past? You're very young.
Yes. Yeah, that's happened.
She's reaching for her coffee
How many times
to soothe herself.
have you been deeply hurt?
Deeply? Once.
Deeply. Once.
Okay, so let's talk about it. Taylor was reportedly dating Joe Jonas. Now, we don't know if you were or not. And I know, I mean, if it's too tough, then just tell me it's too tough.
Yeah.
So you
We
were
were.
dating.
Yeah.
And how do you make it through and past something that was so difficult? And clearly, you're still very, very hurt about it. What do you have to do to get through it? Is writing a song the most therapeutic thing for you?
Yeah, I mean, I've written about it, and I like to write about my life. And as my life changes and things happen, I write about it. And that's just how I deal with things. So, yeah, I mean, it's tough, and it's been tough, and you just have to try to realize that someday you'll find someone that's right for you.
And what is I mean, if you sit at home in your room at night and you sort of picture the perfect man, what is that guy? Who is that guy? And what does he look like? What does he act like?
I think that it's important, you know, I used to always say like sense of humor, but I think that it's important to have the same kind of sense of humor. I have a really dry, sarcastic sense of humor.
Yeah,
and
clever and smart and quick.
Thank you. If somebody doesn't think that my sense of humor is funny, then that's not something that is good.
Right.
So sometimes, you know, that can be a wrong match. If I'm not, you know, if they're not allowed to go in public with me, that's sort of an issue too. I like freckles, and I kind of.
What do you mean if they're not allowed to go in public with you?
Yeah, well, that's just not something that I look for in a guy now.
Like if their management says, no, you're a sex symbol and you need to not have a girlfriend, like that?
Like that could be a possible turn off.
By the way, I honestly, I like both of you, so I don't want to get into a place that's uncomfortable and awkward. And we're not privy to the details, and I know it's tough, so I don't want to make you go down that path. But point is, when you do meet somebody that you connect with, and maybe it doesn't go well, you do learn from that, and you grow from that, and you take something away from it. And that's what you're saying. You've taken something away from that can be a positive.
You really do, and you know, it's like. I'm trying to shake it off. I'm not ready to jump back into anything with anybody because I don't think that would be fair to them if I tried to go, you know, find someone to just fill the void right now. So it's just, I'm excited about my album coming out. I'm excited about, you know.
Don't you have to relive these moments when you sing these songs? I mean, that would be extreme. Like if I'm on tour singing, isn't that going to be tough?
Yeah, and it's tough. There's actually one song on the record that is about it. I did an emergency, like a last-minute recording session. So there's a track on the record that's actually...
What's it called?
It's called Forever and Always. And, you know, I think it kind of helps to be able to tell the story a little bit. It kind of helps me a little bit, you know, when I get to a certain point and I can talk about, you know, what happened and kind of just get it out of my system.
You went to Nashville 11 looking for a record deal, huh?
I did, actually.
Yeah, with a couple demo tapes from karaoke songs?
Yeah, that's
pretty cool to do.
That was before I played guitar or wrote my own music, and I think that trip really made me realize that there are girls in Nashville who are gorgeous and have amazing voices and want to do the same thing that I wanted to do, and I had to figure out a way to stand out.
Yep, you did.
And for me, I went back home and I started playing a guitar and writing my own music, and in that sense, I could walk into a room and play my own instrument, and I could play songs that I'd written, and that way I wouldn't have to depend on anybody creatively.
You play a 12-string guitar?
I do, actually, yeah.
Why did you pick 12 over the conventional?
Well, I took a bunch of lessons when I was little, really little, like 10 and 11 and stuff, guitar on 6 strings, and I had this one real jerk of a teacher who I was asking him, I was like, so what's the difference between a 6-string and 12-string guitar? And he goes, I don't even need to answer that for you because there's no way that you'll be able to play a 12-string guitar at your age, and your fingers aren't developed enough, and there's no way you'd be able to play it. So the next day I picked out the 12-string guitar that I wanted, and and waited, I think, about 6 months until Christmas came around, and I got that 12-string guitar, and I would play it every single day until my fingers bled.
Wow.
And, you know, at first it seemed really hard, and then I just realized that if I put my mind to something, then it was really mind over matter, and maybe my fingers weren't long enough or developed enough to play it, but I played it.
Wow.
And so, you know, it's really exciting to see that, you know, guitar teacher.
There you go.
That's kind of why. I mean, for me, I'm really competitive and I'm really stubborn, so if you tell me I can't do something, I'm going to go do it.
You're going to get it done, too. You're going to get it done. How much input did you have in the whole process of recording this CD?
I had a lot of input.
A lot of creative input?
You know, there was never a recording session where they were tracking instruments that I wasn't there.
Okay.
And, you know, asking, hey, Nathan, can you turn this up? I need to hear a little more mandolin, or, you know, different songs that had piano, different things. You know, when I write a song, I hear how it's supposed to sound in my head. And I can hear the production, I can hear what the drums are doing, and you know, I can hear what the mandolin's doing, what the bass is doing, what everything is doing when I'm writing that song. So usually when we go into the studio, all I have to do is sit down with Nathan for about 10 minutes and say, look, this is how I want this to sound, and he just puts it all to life.
Wow. Wow. You're the first female artist to go top 10 since Gretchen Wilson did 3 years ago?
Yeah.
That's a cool...
It's very exciting.
That's cool.
It's really exciting because, you know, radio has just been so great to me. And I went out on about a 6-month radio tour, I think. A lot of artists go out on a 6-week radio tour.
Right, sure.
And I wanted to go out and I wanted to meet everybody that I possibly could. And so it really paid off. And the people who called in and requested this song, I owe them so much because they're the ones that kept this song going, and it ended up being a top 5 single for me.
I read where it says, I consider myself a songwriter first, foremost, and I have never written anything I don't mean. Is that a true statement?
That is a true statement.
Okay.
I think that's on my MySpace. On my MySpace,
I don't know where I picked that up.
On my MySpace, I tried to write my biography not, you know, as somebody else was writing it. You know, a lot of artists have, so-and-so is the best, you know, musician ever. And I just didn't want to have my biography be like that. So I decided to write mine first person. Mm-hmm. And, you know, telling about who I am as a person, what I like, what I don't like, what annoys me, what I love, you know, stuff like that. And I thought, because I always wanted my favorite artists to do that. I always thought it would have been cool if the country artists that I looked up to when I was little would have given the fans something really cool, some real personal information, not too personal, but just what their favorite food is, stuff like that. You know, you never hear that kind of stuff, and I always thought it was kind of cool.
Read from, maybe it was on MySpace. What's your favorite food? Cheesecake.
Yeah.
I read that.
So I thought it was pretty cool to give these people information about me, because I'm not scared of it.
No, why not? What's wrong with cheesecake?
I don't have anything to hide.
No, I like cheesecake too.
I know.
Yeah. What's your website?
My website is www.taylorswift.com, or hit me up on MySpace, which is myspace.com/TaylorSwift.
Okay. Advice. You have any advice for anybody that wants to, you know, so what did you learn so far that you would give advice to?
How long do you have?
Yeah, stay with it.
You know, there's so many things that you learn throughout the way, and I had so many people give me, you know, advice when I was younger, and I can't say that I listened to any of it.
Right.
All the lessons that I learned, I had to learn by myself. And I think this is one of the professions that you really have to learn by doing it.
Right.
And, you know, you don't learn how to not have stage fright by hearing somebody give you advice about it.
That's true.
You learn how to not have stage fright by getting up on stage 300 times in a row to the point where it feels like you're just standing on your bedroom singing to the mirror.
Taylor Swift in with me, the young, sweet, beautiful Taylor Swift, only 16 years old, already making waves across the music scene. I mean, that's quite impressive to be 16-year-old and writing your own music.
Oh, you're so sweet. Thank you so much. It's been unbelievable.
Well, when did you start? I mean, how does one create so many wonderful songs? I mean, I was reading you've already written over 150 songs, and I mean, getting humongous airtime with Tim McGraw, in case Taylor Swift, Tim McGraw, which we're going to play the video for you here in a minute. But what inspired you for this song? Well, obviously Tim McGraw, but I don't know. At 16, it's such a young age, so...
Well, I started out singing and stuff and dragging my parents to festivals and fairs and karaoke contests when I was like 10. Yeah. And that's what I did. I grew up in Pennsylvania in a place called Reading, which is right between the coal mines and the Amish country, which so there's a lot to do. But, you know, just started singing everywhere I possibly could. Did that for about a year until I came to Nashville for the first time. And I was 11, and I had this demo CD of me singing karaoke music, and was like, walked into every major record label and was like, hey, I'm Taylor, I'm 11, I want a record deal, call me, which, you know, didn't really pan out, but I went back home, and I think that's when I realized that I needed to be different. They see that sort of thing every single day.
Right.
So that's when I picked up a 12-string guitar and started playing and writing my own music, and, you know, I've written a lot of songs so far, and every song on this album, so I'm so excited about this because songwriting really changed my life and the way that my career went.
Right. Well, I mean, and it's impressive, especially coming out as a Nashville artist. I mean, most of them don't write their own music. They're starting to, just because it's where the money's at, too.
Yeah.
Residual, just sit there and get free checks. But let's talk about the Tim McGraw song. This is the one that's going to hit the top 20 this week, which is so impressive, especially at 16. I mean, you're probably going to run into comparisons like Leanne Rimes, I imagine. Do you get that at all, just from her young career going up, and do you I don't know. Is that a direction you'd want your career to go?
I think initially people make a comparison because of the age. There's really not a lot that me and Leanne have in common, but she was actually one of the reasons I got involved in country music and became in love with it, because I got her first album, Blue, when I was 6, and just absolutely fell in love with the way she sang and the kind of music she sang. But I think since then I really spun off in a different direction from Leanne, and you know, the guitar playing and the writing is a little bit different, but she is definitely a catalyst for a lot of this.
Well, I just think it's great and genius, because of course I do my radio shows as well, and this song Taylor Swift, Tim McGraw comes up, and I'm thinking, who names their song Tim McGraw? I mean, who does that? But I think it is brilliant in the fact that I see new artists all the time, get new records in all the time, and this particular song, because of the title of it, really made me want to research, like, who is this? Singing a song called Tim McGraw. So I first of all think it's ingenious, and then second of all, have you heard from Tim McGraw about it?
Thank you. And the first of all, like, I never even thought anything of this song after I wrote it. I came up with the idea for Tim McGraw when I was sitting in math class my freshman year, and I just started singing "When You Think Tim McGraw, I Hope You Think My Favorite Song" to myself in my head. And during that period of time, I had gotten a publishing deal when I was 14 and had started writing every day. After school, I would go in downtown and I would write, and I would come home at 9 p.m. and do my homework and go to bed. And so that's what I did for about 2.5 years. And during this period of time is when I came up with the concept for Tim McGraw. And after school, I went in and wrote the song in 15 minutes on piano. And, you know, I think I applied it to the situation I was in which I was dating a guy who was going off to college, and, you know, I knew that we were going to break up, and just thinking about all the things that I knew would remind him of me. And I never played it for anybody for about 3 months, and I didn't demo it. I didn't do anything with this song until on just kind of an off chance, I played it for the president of my record label, and he looked at me and was like, "Well, that's your first single." I'm like, There you go. I guess that's how they do it. But you know, and about Tim McGraw, I haven't ever like talked to him or anything, but my agent went and played the song for him for the first time, because it's Tim's agent too. Played it for him in the bus, and the first thing he said was, "Man, I gotta go play this for Faith." And he went and he played it for her, and he came back and he was like, "Man, we both love this song, but I don't feel like I deserve it. I'm not George Jones. I'm not a legend." And I thought that was really cool and really humble.